telling me that you want to be doing $5 to $7 million a month. And I was like, that's actually the exact math that it came out to. If each one of those base shops were doing 70 grand a piece, that's your 7 million. If all of those base shops were doing around 50 grand a piece, that's around 5 million. So that's monthly goal. But what that means is so much bigger. That means 100 of you were able to participate in what I think is the coolest part of this company, which is really getting to do something different for your family and to change the trajectory of your family. And we call that agency ownership and through what that program provides. Okay. So we're going to create 100 agency owners. How are we going to do that? We're going to build strong agents. Okay. We're going to build strong teams with those agents, and we're going to build a strong future for the agents that come in. Everyone here who comes in and has an opportunity to sell a life insurance policy has an opportunity to be an agency owner. Okay. We're going to equip you to do that. We're going to provide the training, the mentorship, and the systems that you guys need to be able to build an agency. Okay. Here at the Schnitzer agency, and I know in the greater Symmetry family, all of our agents are given that opportunity. We're just going to keep putting the tools in front of you to create, like, not just run the play, but also like build the mindset behind financial freedom. Okay. It's sometimes it's a mindset shift for us where we think, maybe that's not for me, or no one in my family's not really ever done this whole freedom thing. We're going to help you build the mindset too. And that's what I think a lot of these Monday calls are really going to do to help you guys. Um, so we're going to help equip you. Okay. We're going to build, we're going to equip, and then we're also going to empower. We cultivate here an environment for leaders to take ownership for their success. Okay. It's like having a car in the garage, a really fast one, a really nice one with a bunch of technology in it, like all the gadgets and all the things that you want in a car. It's like having that and like you seeing the keys hanging next to the back door, and you're like, you know what? Let me grab these keys and take it for a drive. Okay, that's the opportunity that's available for you here today. So we want to give you guys the ownership, to take full control of that over that and to take advantage over that. Our agency is a platform also for agents to achieve their financial success. Okay, I think a lot of us end up come here for the money. A lot of us end up staying here because of the culture and the people that we get to work with. I've asked so many different 130s about like what's their favorite thing about Symmetry, and they say it's the people. Okay. So we're going to help you attain that financial success. If you want to take the keys and if you want to drive that car, we're going to help you do that. We're giving you empowerment to do that, but you're going to end up staying here because of the people who you get to take along in that car with you. I promise you that. Okay. So that's our vision, guys. And the values that we stand by, they don't change. Okay. It's honor, growth, grit, and accountability. Honor, growth, grit, and accountability. How do those show up in your business? How do you go about your business with honor, with a growth mindset, with grit to not give up when things get tough? How do you hold yourself accountable? Those are all things I think they'd all do play into the growth aspect, but they also play into like the personal development and just becoming a different person, right? So that's it, guys. That's all I got.
Is so good, guys. I hope everybody takes a moment to feel truly blessed like you are to be a part of such a cool agency that's doing phenomenal things. It's on hockey stick trajectory growth, but does it based in principles of being good humans, taking care of each other, and doing what's right by the client first and always. Like, we have an unbelievable culture here at Symmetry. I've been a part of some really cool organizations in my career, but nothing could top the culture that we have overall in Symmetry Financial Group. But I'm telling you, even as a subset here in the Schnitzer organization, guys, you are a part of the right agency at the right time that's linked up with the right organization that has landed on the moon. And make no mistake, we are going to Mars. Think about this right now, guys. We're a $300 million organization right now. In the next 7 to 8 years, we have an actual path and benchmarks that say we're on the path to be a $7 billion organization in the next 7 to 8 years. So if you think the opportunity looks great now, if you think you want to be where Skate's at right now and where their organization is about to reach the summit and become directs to the organization here in just a few short months, we hope, Scott. Think about how much opportunity really exists when we become a $7 billion organization. And that growth's not going to come in width, it's going to come in depth. So everybody on this call has the same opportunity to grab their share of that market value. And just imagine, Scott, what your life will look like when you're playing in the numbers with B's instead of M's. It's going to be absolutely insane.
I'm only asking for 72 million a year of that, okay? That's in the next 5 years. Because you
Yeah.
said in the next three, you said next 3 to 7, correct?
Yeah. In the next, we think in the next 7 years that we can become a $7 billion organization.
See, and like that conversation got me fired up enough to say this out loud to the team because like Kate and I wanted some really big things, and we got to think about like if you're gonna have a someone steering the ship, and you know, in a sense, they've got to have a big enough vision for everyone that works with inside that organization to grab a hold of and also fit their big vision inside of it as well. And so it was a scary number to say out loud because at first, Todd, I was like, that's a really big number. I don't know if that's possible. And once I say it out loud, it's going to be like one of those things where, man, I don't want to fail and fall flat on my face. But as I watched and listened to Brandon and Casey talk about their vision for this, and I'm looking at like at the end of last month that future agency screen had about 20 names on it. So
Yeah.
as I'm looking at those 20 names, I'm just like, I don't think I set that target big enough actually for what could happen here.
Yeah.
You know, so I hope that's the case. I hope that we set our sights too small and that a few of you here on this screen just decide to go absolutely gangbusters with this. Because what Todd's saying is true. I mean, the company isn't shrinking, they're getting larger, and the opportunities, like the keys are next to our back door. You know, it's not saying they're not looking for a partner to come in here with 3,000 agents direct to them and just change the game. They're looking for one of us to go find 3,000 people.
I want you to think about this, Scott. Like one of the most attractive things that gives us the wind in our sails to even talk about being a $1 billion organization is the attention that we're getting from the market, from the reinsurers. So if you're new to this business, you sell policies through Foresters, Mutual of Omaha, Americo, right? But when you sell those policies and they go in place, they actually sell off a lot of the risk that goes on to a reinsurer. So Mutual of Omaha actually has an insurance company that insures them. And what's happened in the market, because you all in this culture of doing the right thing when no one's looking, the industry is taking notice that we far exceed our competition when it comes to our quality of business. And so what has happened? Reinsurers started noticing that when we started building these proprietary products with carriers, the carriers were asking to retain the majority of risk for every policy that's sold that comes from a Symmetry agent. That caused $100 billion companies to want to raise their hand and say, what in the world is Symmetry Financial Group doing? And guess what? They took a look under the hood. They started seeing the quality of business. They started seeing that we have promotion guidelines that actually holds agents accountable to making sure that the client comes first and that we put them in the best position possible. And guess what? Now we've got major financial institutions looking to invest that want to build on the momentum because we simply show up and do the right thing when nobody else is looking. It eventually comes out, it eventually adds up. And Scott, you would not believe the meetings and the entities that come through these doors in little bitty Swananoa, as we refer to it, Swananowhere, North Carolina. Like the amount of financial institutions that are begging for a meeting to come be a part of what we're building and what you all get to experience the growth from in the next 2 to 3 years is going to be absolutely mind-blowing.
They're like, where do we park our helicopter? You're like, I don't know, I'll meet you over in Charlotte if you want us to come grab you.
Yeah, you got to fly to Charlotte if you really want to see us. But I'm some serious, guys. There's so much opportunity and so much potential. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit here in just a few minutes and tell you a little bit about my story. But I'll kind of set it up with this. I was an agent. I was an agency owner. I didn't come from a place of being broken. I actually came from a place of being very, very fortunate and very successful in the pharmaceutical sales world. For 15 years, I led organizations in their sales in the pharmaceutical space, and I was surrounded by some of the most awesome human beings that formed some of the most dynamic performances in the company's history. And that always led me to getting promotions along the way. And I was so fortunate for that. But I looked up one day and I went to an appointment at the school to meet with my oldest son's teacher when he was in kindergarten. And the teacher looked at me and said, I want you to know that your son's so polite. He's such a good kid. He makes great grades. He's really intelligent. But I want to say, like, do you travel a lot for your job? And I said, yes, ma'am. Why do you ask? She said, well, we noticed your son takes better direction coming from a male teacher than a female teacher. And this is pretty common when the father's not present at home. And you want to talk about everything that I'd ever worked for, the $300,000+ in salary, the company car, the 401ks, the stock options, the nice house that I had, everything that I had pounded the pavement for 15 years to build. And I thought I was providing everything that a father should. And that teacher tore it all down with that one question.
Yeah.
Because what I didn't have was time. And I realized at that moment that what I needed was not just money, but I needed time in order to spend it with the people that I loved and that I cared about, and to be present for my kids. And that set me on the journey to being a part of Symmetry Financial Group. I'll share that story with you guys and a little bit of how Danny and Sandy Young, my forever upline, got me to be a part of this business, guys. But I want to tell you another little carrot before I have a special guest come join me here in just a couple minutes. I've seen this company's growth from its infancy. Actually go back to the year 1997 when I became best friends with Brandon Ellison, one of our founders. He's the not good looking bald one that normally has the elephant in his background, you know. He and I became best friends the first day on campus at the University of Alabama in 1997. I'm walking up the street. I'm in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm going to a fraternity recruitment party where all the freshman guys are instructed to put on the same wallaby shoes, the same duckhead khaki pants, the same crimson polo short sleeve shirt. And then, of course, we all had those stupid long bangs that you can grow when you're in your 20s that you have to constantly throw out of your eyes, you know? And I'm walking up the street, and out of a sea of thousands of characters that are all trying to look exactly the same, I see somebody standing on the street corner wearing flip-flops, shorts, a t-shirt with it untucked, and his hair was so long it almost touched the top of his butt. And I thought, I'm going to introduce myself to this guy because either he's plumb crazy and it's going to be hilarious, or he's got a really cool vibe and somebody I'm going to want to be around. I walk up, I stuck my hand out, shook hands. It happened to be Brandon Ellison, and we've been best friends ever since. So I come from a place of knowing Brandon very early in the journey. I watched him when he went to the practice IMO, which if you're new to us, we always refer, if you came from a previous insurance marketing organization, out of respect for our competitors, we just call them the practice company. We don't need to shed negative light on anybody else. They had a lot of learnings when they went to a practice company, and they found a lot of opportunities that they felt could be tweaked to make a better, more profitable organization that sets agents up to be more successful quicker. And so I'm telling you, I've seen this thing from the beginning. Brandon Ellison comes from such humble beginnings in South Alabama, guys. This is a true story. We used to have to watch the Weather Channel at lunchtime before we would go on a double date at night because his windshield wipers were broke on his truck and he couldn't afford to get them fixed. And we had gone on a double date the previous week and it started to pour down rain. And so we had to pull the car over and wait under a bridge because we couldn't see where we were driving. And I'll give you a spoiler alert, we didn't get a second date with those girls. So when I'm talking about some of the opportunities that we have, it is all born and bred out of very humble beginnings, about a very simple mindset about how can we set up our agents to be more successful in the least amount of time, giving them the opportunity to spend more of their calendar with the people they love and working on themselves to become, as Danny always says, a big enough battery for other people to plug into. So, Scott, I know we're really excited about that. I've got another 15 minutes afterwards that we're going to wrap up, but I need to take a quick 30-second pause and help my friend, and I'll be right back with the special.
Hey, I'm on, buddy.
There we go.
Yeah, man. I figured
What's
it out.
up?
I'm a tech genius.
Tech genius over here. What's up, Casey?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good to see everyone's smiling faces on this
I
Monday.
knew that we were gonna have two people spitting Danny Youngisms on today's call with Todd and I, but I did not know that you were gonna be here. So this is a really cool surprise.
Yeah.
I told you, Scott, that we talk about your organization and your entire agency in our morning huddles. Guys, this is real life. This morning I was on a morning huddle. We have our Symmetry L10 every Monday morning, which Casey's a part of. I was telling Casey that I was going to be joining your agency call day to share 30 minutes worth of hopefully some nuggets that you could all take home. And Casey said, "Hey, man, you think I could come on and join with you? They're doing awesome things and I'd love to come celebrate." So appreciate you taking that opportunity, Casey.
Absolutely, guys. Definitely celebrate. Y'all are crushing it. On the run, too, right?
We're on the run. We're going. Yeah.
You got it.
I've
You
been
got
running
it.
with I've been running with my hair on fire just because of everything you just said, Todd. Like I was 70 hours a week at a dealership. That's not even, over exaggerating. It was a family dealership. So as you guys know, like dealership people already are there, but sun up to sundown just to
Yeah.
make sure that they're there when the customers are. But being the owner's son, I had to do all the extra stuff too. So I was 70 hours a week and like would come home. I'd see Kate in the kitchen preparing the big Yeti lunch pail for the next day. And it was literally like Groundhog's Day every day.
Mm.
It was a 45-minute drive on the way to that 70-hour week. So I've been running with my hair on fire since we started September 2022 full time. And that's all I can think about, Todd, is like I've been here for all the change diapers. I've been here for the walking for the first time. I've been here to hear my son get obsessed saying the word daddy,
Yes.
and you cannot trade that. Like there's literally nothing that could trade that for me. Casey, even if you switched up the ownership program or you changed the comp plan and re-bumped everyone down to 25%, you still couldn't get rid of me. Because I would take a 1/5 of a pay cut to get to do what I do every day with my family, you know.
Man,
So, and I truly mean that.
don't give him any
We
ideas.
would never do that, buddy. We would
Casey's
never
like,
do that.
well, we got P&L reviews later today.
Yeah. We would never do that, man. This thing is
Yeah.
absolutely right where it needs to be. So I'm
Yeah.
just like forever filled with, just waking up excited that, you guys are getting what you want out of this. I mean, that's the ultimate reason we started this, was for people to get exactly what they want out of it, and that's the coolest thing that we have is, that, that you guys have autonomy and agency in what you're trying to do. You can do however small or big you want to go with it. You've got a home here, and you guys happen to be going really big with it. So it's really cool to see.
I appreciate that. Well, how long do we got of your time?
How about 15 minutes, 10
Cool.
15 minutes? So let's rapid fire it. You tell me how I can serve and what y'all want to hear from me. I'll be glad to
Yeah,
share anything.
I think really two things, but feel free to give me a Danny Young answer if it fires you up. I told Todd the same thing.
Always.
First, like, my first leadership conference, you talked about the two boxes. So I would say like maybe walk me through if all this got taken away from you and you restarted today, what that would look like.
I love that question.
And then two, just like the conference, there's a lot of people that are on the fence as always. It's kind of like that tough time of the year we're getting close, but we're still far enough behind, away that
Yeah.
decisions don't have to be made like today, but they should be, right?
Mhm.
So would love for you to hit on both of those things.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you guys for letting me talk for a few minutes. Yeah, I think the two boxes were really just born out of me feeling overwhelmed by the amount of stuff you can do in this business. So, like, on one hand, I came from being a plumber's assistant making $6 an hour, and it's pretty simple. You show up 7 a.m., you leave at 4 or 5, you do what he says, you try to be a good helper, you know, you break your back trying to, pull water heaters out from under crawl spaces. You you get spider webs in your hair. All the kind of simple stuff that you can mostly leave at the workplace and you're done. But I can just remember just the freedom of feeling like, man, I get to kind of eat what I kill here. I get to set my own schedule. I struggled with a little bit of that freedom in the beginning just because, um, you know, it was, I kind of let my bank account dictate my activity levels, which is like a big, like, mind here, like, or a potential pitfall is if you're not used to like owning your own schedule, don't do what I did, where I like went out my first week and made $2,400, and then that was like more than I was used to making in a quarter as a plumber's assistant. So I took the next few weeks off, and then like my activity was a roller coaster, and my bank account was also a roller coaster. And because like your activity's up and down, your money does the same thing, which means your emotions do the same thing. So it's this vicious cycle because emotional stability yields consistency, and consistency yields emotional stability. So how do I level all of that out? How do I not get overwhelmed with the amount of things I have to do to get my business going, whether it be helping more clients or trying to recruit agents and all this other stuff? So the two boxes really was born out of, I need to like hone in on what are the most important activities that I can do that are income producing. I like how Jordan Hunt calls them IPAs. He must be a beer drinking fan, but IPAs, income producing activity. The key to this business for every single one of you guys on this phone to get more of what you're wanting, which is probably time and money, which is what you guys were just talking about, is those two boxes. So I had a big whiteboard, a box, and I drew two big boxes. It's all it was, two big boxes. The box on the left is how many appointments am I going to run? That's for my immediate money, my immediate cash flow. How many appointments am I going to run a week? How many clients am I going to try to see? And on the right was how many interviews, how many agents, potential agents, am I going to talk to, whether it's warm market or cold market, that lets them know like what we do, why we do it, how the money works, So that box was interviews, and nothing else really matters in your world right now except for filling those two boxes. But I know there's 1,000 other things that you're like, yeah, they're business related and it feels like work, but don't kid yourself. If you're not filling those two boxes, those other to-dos, while they might be important, you won't have a list of other to-dos if you don't have a business, and you don't have a business if you don't have income. So you got to take care of those two boxes. So it was just like a simple way for me to understand that nothing else at the end of the week matters. If I don't have 12 to 15 appointments in that left box and 15 to 20 in the right box, and it's a numbers game. So all of you that know how to go out and do 5,000 a week in personal production, and that you're sitting there thinking that you don't understand recruiting and agency stuff, you're overcomplicating it. It's the exact same thing. It's a numbers game. And I know you get excited when you recruit the new, Wilbur Smith. He seems sharp and he's like ready to go. And he's saying all the right things, but like, it's just the way it works. Like, don't name your puppies yet. Let's see what Wilbur's got before we like stop recruiting because we think Wilbur's going to be our guy, and Wilbur probably is our guy. He seems like he's doing pretty good, but like,
It's so funny that you're doing this right now. This is so
Did I
Uh,
pick on the wrong guy?
no,
Um,
actually the perfect one. But no,
that's
it's
great.
like it's so true because imagine if we did that with production. You
Right.
know, it just imagine because a lot of us can
Yep.
understand that. Like, I want to build an agency. Let me get good at production first. But it could also play the same mind game. If
Same
you
thing.
got, if you got, if you had a $3,000 week, or let's say you talk to somebody with like a $700,000 mortgage, and they're like, yeah, let's cover it with a term, and you stop talking to all your other clients that week,
Right.
and then
Same
that
thing.
client didn't show up to the appointment to sign for the policy, that'd be like the same thing. You'd be doing the same thing to your business long term.
Yep. That's the exact same thing. The problem with recruiting also is that with personal production, it's immediate pain. I learned my first week, don't set 3 appointments. Even though you're excited about them, even though those clients said it sounded like they were going to be there, and they were, don't set 3 appointments. It's a numbers game. The problem with recruiting is like the pain doesn't hit you immediately because nothing related to recruiting is instant from a cash flow standpoint. So learning that the consistency of filling that right box just as consistently as you fill the left box as far as appointments goes is so important. And I don't care, even if you're on this call and you're like, especially I would say if you're on this call and you're running 30, 40, 50,000 or more a month, or you're kind of in that range where you have a few agents and they're starting, is uh, the kind of pipeline effect of agency building is tricky to learn because you are not, Scott, your business right now is not a reflection of what's happening right now from an agency standpoint. It's a reflection of what you guys were doing together collectively as a team 90 days ago in the recruiting box. So you might be riding this wave of awesomeness because you guys were on fire 90 days ago. But because you took that for granted and you think growth is just going to keep happening, you might have started to say, okay, you get away from the fundamentals, you get away from the recruiting, you think this growth is going to keep happening, but all of a sudden it's like, nope, you start to stall out. That stall out is not a reflection of what's happening today either. It's a reflection of what's happening 90 days ago. So that lagging indicator is really tricky when you're growing a business and it's 90 to 120 days. So you got to stay on top of that one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll sneak up on you. And the problem is you're going to go, okay, we got to get our heads back down. Well, guess what? It's still going to be 90 days before you see the upside of you guys putting your head back down. The key is quit letting quit paying attention to the numbers on the agency side of things as much as you're paying attention to the most important metrics, which is, are we growing our recruiting every single month? For the longest time in our office, we had, and now it's just on digital dashboards and stuff for us, but for the longest time before we got digital, it was a whiteboard and it had recruits for the month and new writers and a few other metrics like that, Scott. But it was, if it wasn't like January, February, March, April, May, and it wasn't growing every single month, now it might be that 1 month you take a little bit of a step back, 1 month, but the trend needs to be growing because you got to feed the beast when it comes to recruiting. Like, Scott, how many overall in your agency do you recruit in your entire master hierarchy right now?
A week or a month?
A month.
Um, 28 new writers last month, about 40, 45 ready to writes.
Like, if you went back to people think recruiting 20 people is a lot. If you guys started recruiting 20 people in your master agency, you're headed for a big stall out, right?
Yep. Yep.
Because you've got to this certain size that it just takes 40 people a month. Now you go to 50 people a month right now, 60 people a month, you're in for some growth, even more growth, right? So it's like you've got to watch that and not keep your, you don't let your foot off the gas on growing. And so you're always wanting to, as you're starting to build that agency, make sure, and the way you grow that number is unique builders. And if you don't have enough people helping you build, it's because you're talking about the wrong stuff. It's because you have a sales culture. You're talking about the problems of the field. not the problems of building a business. You need to be talking about the problems and the vision and the greatness and the possibilities of building a business with all your people. And man, there's so much beauty when that happens, and like where people focus, where their focus is, because like when people are focused on building and they're focused on creating passive income and they're focused on hiring agents and creating a difference in their lives, all of a sudden that no show or that bad week where you were hoping to do $5,000, you only did 2,000, all that stuff is just like not a big deal, because your chin is up, your eyes are up, focused a lot more on just like what's happening right in front of you, you know?
That's so good. That honestly, that's what fueled Kate and I so much. And I love two
Right.
things. I love that you can keep, like, you can still remember your whiteboard, first of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've still got mine next to me. Kate made
Right.
me start using spreadsheets. I did not want to, but the number the builders are going up. I had to use a spreadsheet. We met with Kate Doyle back in August 24, and she's like, "You guys are doing decent premium, but look at
Yeah.
what happened 90 days ago. This is why you're going to take
Right.
a dip." And she got us to look at the right things from August 24 till November 24. We went from seven unique builders to 17 unique builders, and that's
There
why
you
this
go.
thing
That's
picked
it.
up. And like I remember Kate and I, always talking about this. I'm like, it's not this business for me was never a production job. I never came here for a sales career, right? I came
Right.
here to build an agency. And I believe that when you start focusing on other people, especially those folks that you're bringing in, you're pouring your energy into them, you're loving on them, you're growing yourself as a leader so that honestly, when the bad days hurt, they don't hurt to everyone else, right?
Right.
That's important. It becomes less about production. The production just gets figured out along the way.
Yep.
It just figures itself out. Like you're gonna
Becomes a
rise to the
byproduct. Yep.
level. You're gonna rise to the level for sure. So I love
Love
that.
that.
And I love that you keep it so simple. Like we could get so sophisticated in our first 6 months here of like, these are all the
Yeah.
things that I need. And
Yeah.
it's the two boxes.
It really is. You're kind of missing the whole point of, and Kiyosaki talks about like system driven income. And sometimes like our creative entrepreneurial spirit can keep us from understanding leverage and leveraging a already proven duplicatable system that may not look exactly how you want it to, but while you're promoting the system and leveraging the system, there are other people that aren't, that are trying to reinvent it and redo it and recreate websites and training platforms and all this stuff, thinking that's going to be the solution. When we were growing the fastest in our company, we had a MP3. That was where our training was. It was sent
Right.
with a like in a on an email or something. Like there was zero, like it wasn't great whatsoever. So like don't miss how important leveraging a system is. It would be like you buying a McDonald's franchise and then just throwing the playbook out the window, not going to Hamburger University and learning how to run a franchise. You're missing the whole point of buying a franchise. Is it's turnkey, it's done for you, so you can go out and buy another franchise if you want, or go play golf if you want. Yeah, don't miss that point. Don't reinvent the wheel.
So good, man.
Yeah.
And conference, yes, everyone I'm assuming everyone on the screen is going to conference, but from the get-go in this business, we had a mentor, Brandon, I did back in the practice company, and as Spivey said, there was plenty of things we learned. We learned so much of what to do and also so much what not to do, which is like invaluable. Like super grateful for every experience I've had, even if in the moment it didn't feel very great at times. But one of the things that one of our old mentors used to tell us is like, if you don't do anything else, but put butts in seats at life-changing events, and keep that your focus. Obviously, personal production, recruiting, you got to do those things because you can't put butts in seats without recruiting and that kind of thing. But if you can just like set a goal to get people with you to those large events, then the stuff you just talked about, Scott, with like unique builders come from conferences. people don't catch this thing on conference calls like they catch it being in person at an event. And you want to talk about turning someone from being kind of involved to like dabbling in recruiting, dabbling in personal production, treating this a little bit like a hobby, expecting different results, to someone that like wants to run with you through brick walls. That's what conference is. That's where it changed for me. That's where it changed for any of you guys that have been at conference, that's where you actually saw it. And some of it is that you see people walking across stage with Velcro shoes that can't like string a sentence together, and you're like, that's more motivating than a Scott Schnitzer that so like can just pour into people like that. I got so motivated from all of it at conference, that like the people that just like kept it simple and didn't have like this like awesome ability to like influence people and be polished and speak on stage. Like I got more motivated by the people that couldn't do that were crushing it, than the people that could do that. But you just get so much from conference, so much commitment to come home and just go for it, which is like ultimately where your heart has to be. Nothing's going to happen for you guys. Nothing's going to happen individually for any one of you guys if you're not fully committed to this thing. And only if you're fully committed. And the numbers will show, but like in the end, it's got to be a conversation and a decision that you make, because someone else making you feel like you need to do it, we're all good as leaders at influencing behavior, right? That's what leadership is influence. But ultimately, it's got to be your choice, and it's got to be something that you deeply desire for yourself. And I think conference gives you the ability and the space away from work, away from all of it, to kind of get clear with it. So go for yourself and get other people there and watch what happens.
And I told you guys about my story and how I met Brandon, and hopefully Scott and Kate will allow me to come back and share you guys some of my story. And I'd love to do that in the next few weeks, Scott, whenever you got an opening. But it was 2012, and it was the first time that I came to Swannanoa. Brandon was talking about opening a restaurant, which I thought was a terrible idea. But I came up to Swannanoa to help them bust tables and to do whatever the kitchen might need in their opening night for their restaurant. And that's the first time I ever met Casey Watkins. And I spent 5 minutes with him in a private conversation outside. And I immediately went back inside and said, Brandon, something's wrong. He's way too cool to be friends with you. So don't ever get it twisted, guys. If you want to know who the coolest owner is, it's that guy.
That's right. That's right, Spivey.
I think my family saw a video. They're like, I love that the owner of your company wears Sambas on stage and not so yeah.
Keep it casual, guys.
Yeah, big decisions will be made, guys. Casey, I don't know when you need to hop, but Todd, I don't think you've heard this either. I was a part of that family business all the way leading up to a conference in 2022, and I was really trying to decide like, go do this full time or help my dad retire sooner. So it was a big, I was living out his dream, building his dealership for him. And second day of conference, Casey and everyone else they invited up there got me all pumped full of excitement and vision. I literally go on Instagram the next morning during my run and I'm like, hey guys, I'm starting a life insurance business from home.
Yeah.
Follow me along for the next couple years. And that was my communication to everyone in my life and the family.
So awesome.
Dude, I got some weird texts from after that, saying, you're just leaving dad? And I was like, well, I'm actually doing this for myself. He was stoked though, and he's our biggest supporter. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just been really cool.
Love it, guys.
Thank you, Casey.
Well, thanks for having me for a few minutes.
Right on,
Hammer
man.
down. Let's go get it.
Let's get it.
See y'all at conference.
Buddy.
Bye.
See ya. Well, Todd, I didn't get to properly edify you when we started. Your spiritual gift is exhortation, and it's one of the coolest things to I mean, like one of the reasons why a lot of people stay here is because of the culture, and you're the catalyst of the culture at the corporate office. Exhortation is your ability to just encourage and uplift others. And everyone who comes into contact with you, you leave them in a better spot, whether you're having a challenging conversation or whether you're just pumping them up and giving them gratitude for what they're doing. So I appreciate you big time.
Yeah.
And for you to get Casey involved on this call and take your time. You were going to dedicate a half hour to this and you just sat back and let Casey do it. It just shows what kind of leader you are. So thank you for doing that for my team. And
Man, he's a special human being, guys. And I think the partnership between Brandon, Brian, and Casey is so important. Like, if you understood the Enneagrams and how they're wired and how they both function, you know, each in their own positive ways. Like, Casey's a special spirit to me. He's got a great energy. He was one of the reasons that got me over the hump, because I'd been recruited from Brandon since the practice company. But there was a special energy about Casey. And then I'll tell you this story, Scott, if you have me back in the next few weeks, of how it was actually a phone call from Brian Pope that really pushed me over the edge to get me to come a part of this company and be a part of the corporate office. So guys, I'd love to come back. Scott, let me know how that looks for the calendar. I'd love to tell you more of the intimate details of why you do not want to miss conference. I can tell you this, that there is a 90% or greater chance that you will not be around this company 12 months if you do not go to Denver.
wow.
And when you give me 30 minutes to explain to you what's actually happening behind the scenes and why I don't just say it's a goal to be a $7 billion company, but there's an actual path that's been validated by people that can write $7 billion checks, I'm telling you, we have landed on the moon and we are absolutely taking a spaceship to Mars. And you do not want to miss this opportunity, because I'm telling you, this company's on a mission, guys, in a very short order. You're no longer going to talk about recruiting. You're simply going to need to be trained on how to select who deserves to be a part of your agency. You will be in a place where you will have more resumes and more opportunities to talk to qualified people, and it will be up to you to decide whether or not they can live up to the standards that you set. We are going to flip the script on this entire insurance marketing organization space, and we are absolutely going to Mars. And I hope you all take quit off the table and do the little small baby steps, the 2 boxes to get you there. And when I come back, Scott, I can't wait to share with you and skate exactly what that looks like.
Well, we'll take your next time slot you gave me if you want it. Kate's got
Yeah, that's why I just jumped on. Todd, I man the calendar and next Monday's open. So if you're available, we're gonna take you.
I think he said June 16th. I'll holler at you about it.
Yeah.
That would be
let me know, because I'd love for everybody that's on the day that got a tease of it. I'd love for you to be back, and I'd love for you to invite a friend that you'd love to invite to conference, because I get the privilege and honor to give some of these talks across the company, and I have an insight to tell you the truth, and that's all I know to do. I'm very big on truth telling in this world, and I'd love to share that vision with you guys.
Thank you, Todd. This was awesome. Thank you.
Y'all rock on.
Happy Monday. Love y'all. See you soon.
Love you guys. Talk soon.